Hi there. I'm going to teach you in this video really the fundamentals of getting everything to work within your business through your team and really helping you identify who does what and specifically how to turn this and make sense of it all so everyone within your business has clarity on what they're doing, when they're doing it, and you really have a name to every task or every single thing that needs to get done within your farming practice. So in your farming business. Now, the easiest way for me to describe this process, it really is slowing down in order to speed up. And there's a great metaphor about a guy was walking along a riverbank and he saw a child drowning in the river. And so he dived into the river, saved the child, and he felt pretty happy with himself. But then about 3 minutes later, there's another child drowning in this river. So he goes back to the riverbank and he dives into the riverbank and he saves this child and he pulls him out and he feels pretty happy about himself, and then the same thing's happening. Another child's drowning in the river. And this keeps going on and he keeps diving in the river, pulling out the child, diving in the river, pulling out the child, and he's beginning to get quite exhausted. And a lady's walking up the river and notices all of this going on and approaches him and says to him, what are you doing? And he said, look, I need your help. We need to save these children. And she says to him, what's going on? What's causing it? And he goes, look, I don't care. We're too busy. Get in here and help me. And she says to him, no, I'm not. Something's got to be causing this problem. And anyway, she walks up the stream and she stops the guy throwing the kids in the river. And this really is a great metaphor to illustrate that so many business owners are so busy doing the work that sometimes you've got to really go back to the core and get clarity and fix the problem. And there's no question in my mind, this process will help you achieve that. And I personally believe this is probably one of the most essential things you'll do in your business, and it will really help you go to a whole new level, give you so much more clarity. Please respect and understand, I find to do this process effectively, it can be 2 to 3 days, sometimes even a bit longer. But if you really, really wanted to start it and finish this whole process, what I'm going to take you through, I would allocate 2 to 3 full days and involve your team where possible. So the negatives of not having everything in order and not having everything working is it's like you're chasing 2 rabbits. There's the saying, if you chase 2 rabbits, you'll end up catching none. And this is really, really important. And also, you can find you'll clash with other team members and people unsure what's going on. And this is what causes a lot of conflict. And it's also very slow progress because you'll find that you're just not sure where to focus, and it just no one knows who's doing what. And it really can create a lot of conflict. So I'm taking you through 2 parts. But before we get there, some of the benefits, I'm going to help you get really clear on how to identify who does what. Secondly, how this will bring you an enormously happy team, happy family, and create enormous synergy for you. Okay, so there's really 2 concepts. Now, you'll notice below this video you can download some attachments, and I would really advise downloading, printing those even now, pausing this video, printing those off. So you've got particularly the one with the roles on what I'm about to show you on the organizational chart, and then you can add as we go along, and you can really get clarity on what actually goes on within your particular business. So the first concept is know your organizational chart. Now, really, I package these together a little bit, but we've got the CEO up the top. I generally think a CEO needs a PA or someone to support that CEO. And we've got the marketing and sales division, operation, production, human resource, admin and IT, and finance. Now, the reality is any amazing business has someone heading up each of these divisions. But the reality is in a small business, it's impossible to pay for someone to head up each of these roles. So we need to still appreciate that these roles need energy. And at the start, sometimes you may be heading up all of them, but as the team evolves, you'll start putting clear names into who's responsible for each of these roles. And again, just to reiterate, it's just impossible to do everything. And if you're trying to do everything, you're jumping all over the place, and it creates really a lot of havoc. So we're going to help you really look, and I'll take you off screen now, and we're just going to have an understanding as what actually occurs in each of these roles. So this particular document, oops, it's not the right one, just bear with me, I'm bringing this up. Where is it? Roles of your business. So the first thing we've got to look at is this CEO role. And I want you to understand it's a very important role, because the CEO is all about leading the business. And a leader is very different to management. A leader, there's a whole new set of skills, and even learning management's a huge skill. But being a leader and enrolling and inspire your team, and knowing how to bring out the best in your team, and knowing how to hire the right people, and knowing how to ensure that the jobs are getting done is a real skill. And ultimately, a CEO is responsible for making profit within the business. So Warren Buffett talks about there's 2 rules in business. Rule number 1, don't lose money. And rule number 2, see rule number 1. So the CEO, ultimately, that's your responsibility. But it really is your role to make sure that the meetings are being set with your team, that you're holding your team accountable to their goals. I mean, you are ultimately a CEO responsible for the overall business. You've got to be responsible for systems where necessary, creating vision for the team. I'll talk about rhythm a bit later on, but ensuring that you pull the team out and have strategic meetings with the team. Motivation of the team, where people should be focusing in your business. I mean, you are ultimately responsible for the strategy of your company, your where it's going over the next 5 to 10 years. As a CEO, it's important that you're networking at industry events. I think it's very important as that CEO to work on your influence skills and your sales skills, making tough decisions where necessary, working on opportunities to take your business to the next level, a little bit of crisis management. So this role of CEO is very important, and truthfully, I believe that a business does need a name to the CEO role. I really think it's important. I think ultimately it needs one person to make that final decision. If the team can't come to a decision point, the CEO makes the decision, and it may not always be the decision that the rest of the team like. So you'll notice in this handout we put a whole lot of roles for you, and then you can actually add others that we've missed. So very, very important role. Then we come down to this, I'll come back to this PA soon, but this marketing and sales role is a very important role as well. So if you can appreciate the head of a marketing/sales division, you're responsible for the look and the feel of the business, the branding. Ultimately, 50% of your business should be in this role. So ultimately, a marketing manager is responsible for, if we look at a typical business, then the look and feel of the websites, they're responsible for lead generation and inquiries and getting new customers and finding the right customers and making sure those customers buy again, communicating with those customers, looking for what the best methods will be to help the CEO make more money. So ultimately take a big roll off that CEO and say, you know what, I'm going to take the branding, I'm going to take the marketing, I'm going to be responsible for the sales. So if you look at a sales manager needs sales training and improving the sales processes, networking with new business contacts, asking for referrals, and just everything you can possibly do to maximize the business. So it's a pretty major role as well. And then we move over to the operations and productions manager. So this person needs to ensure that the day-to-day operations of the business happen. So this person's got to be really good at project management, oversee the day-to-day running of the business, project managing, ensuring relevant things are done at the correct time. This person's responsible for putting in place the operations manual, systems in the business, making sure that checklists are in place where necessary, ensuring that the team are following systems, ensure that, what else have we got? Ensuring that the team are focused on the tasks at hand. So really, the CEO makes a decision, this is where we're going. If you can appreciate, it's like a ship, and you've got the pirates on the ship are like, come on, attack. and then you got the rest of the ship just following suit. The operations manager's like, right, let's go, let's follow the CEO, and let's make sure we make everything smooth and efficient as possible. And the CEO's kept very clear on when things are happening, and the seasons are all in order, and ensuring you've got all everything, the plant and equipment's being looked after, making sure the operations are working, ultimately responsible for things being in order, so sufficient water storage, maintenance of sheds and yards, gates and fences, assessing pastures, all the micro elements of the business as well. So there's a whole lot of stuff we put in there for you, and you can also add some more. And then in addition to that, human resources, now not so much of a fundamental role, but still a very important role within a business. So human resource manager in a big business, hiring, firing, inducting, the whole recruitment process, rewarding team members, recognizing team members, looking after payments to team members, making sure the team are happy, making sure you have team motivation days, bonding days, recruitment days. So if you can appreciate, it is a real key role that you need to define and create a job description for, and also put someone in charge of it. Then we've got admin and IT, and I've broken this down in here, the IT manager. So someone actually has to still make sure that the websites are in. If you've got websites, then your emails are working, your technology's working, right? So everything's kept in order, up to date, maintenance of equipment, all the IT world, all the online world. Someone needs to ensure that it's happening and working, and you really don't want it. I mean, it's really challenging when the CEO's out there planning on creating vision that they've got to get pulled in to fix an email issue. So this is why you want to build these right, maybe outsource people in your team to assist you with that. I mean, I'm very fortunate in my business. I have a full-time IT guru, I call him. His name is John. He works from the Philippines, and he just looks after all my websites and my emails and all my technology. Does a lot of my online marketing and stuff like that for me. And ultimately, I pay him a very fair wage, but it's a very good deal for me and for him, having him hired from the Philippines. But really takes a lot of stress off me knowing that resource is there. So very important. Then we've got administration. Now this is a huge component. Every business has administration. You can't avoid it. The CEO needs to do whatever they can to avoid doing administration, because their head needs to be kept very free for working on the business. And some of you, I've written here, some of you may need to sack your wives or your partners as your PA and rehire them as your wife. I think it's really a fine line when you have a business owner passing and really delegating jobs onto their wife and even kids. I mean, it's a really fine line mastering this. So you just have to be very careful treading this line and very respectful of it, because they are still your wives or partners or kids, and there's a real art to doing this. In my business, personally, I choose to have a separate administrator. I tried working with my wife and wasn't able to, because of just that clashing and the pushback, I guess, from needing her to execute the tasks rather than having someone executing tasks and being involved in strategy. It was just causing issues. And so we just made the decision, you know what, it's just smarter for me to find someone else and for her to work elsewhere. And just so you're aware, ever since we made that decision, everything's improved just tremendously. I mean, I've been able to really delegate and get the tasks done that I need and not have pushback. And she's been able to work for a great company and loves her role. So it's a win-win in that space. But that aside, administration, someone's got to clean the office, clean the sheds, clean the vehicles, return phone calls, check message bank, clear emails, paying bills, book travel. Someone's got to do all this stuff. Post letters, check letters, all the stuff, filling the printer when the paper runs out, change the cartridges when the printer runs out. Someone's got to do this. We need a name to this. And it's really got to be that someone's got to take responsibility for that role. And truthfully, I really think you really, really, really do need a good administrator, someone that's good with detail, gets the jobs done, And often this person you want to try and separate from strategy, because sometimes you just need these jobs done. No arguments, just get in there, get them done, and be cool with it. I'll show you very shortly how we can KPI this role. And last but not least, we've got the finance manager. So the finance person manager, in running a business, someone's got to have the books up to date, the BAS lodge, monthly profit and loss, presenting the dashboard for the CEO to be able to determine what's going on in the business, like test and measure, in my opinion, is a real administration role. But managing the creditors, handling any debtors, managing suppliers, asset management, all this stuff, you can add more roles to this. So what you need to do is you really need to get away with your team, and you really need to look at taking that list we've provided for you and adding to it, and really putting names to who's going to be. You want a name next to everything. And ideally, you really do want to also start building some routine around this. So the CEO role may be to meet with the team every 3 months. So therefore, the CEO has to write that down, organise meetings with team every 3 months. And then, in my opinion, it's smart for the CEO then to put into their calendar every 3 months when they're going to organise a meeting with their team. Might be up to the PA to find the location where you're all going to meet. But you really need to articulate, have it written down, documented, so it's no one's hiding from jobs that need to get done, and there's no pointing fingers saying, oh, you should have done that, or you should have done that. So very, very important, and very, very, it's a game changer, in my opinion, when you carry out this process. Now, what have we got here? I'm just working through here. Oh, just to be very aware of as well of the technology that is someone just in the IT space particularly. Someone needs to be constantly looking at market research and the best and latest technologies that are going to serve and improve your business. So that's also just another role, but realistically, that can fit under IT. I'll just put that in as maybe a separate area that I think's growing as well. So once you've got that all in place, I'm going to now show you what happens when it all crashes, okay, and things to avoid so you don't actually go through this. So you really do want a job description written out, ideally for each person within your business. So you can start off writing a job description for each area. This is what the CEO does. This is what the marketing manager does, all the way across to finance. But you really want it written out for each, in my opinion, person. So you might have one team member, or let's say 3 team members. So you've got, okay, this particular team member's name. You're responsible for marketing and sales, and you're responsible for 30% of your time in production. And this person here is going to be the CEO. They're also going to take on the finance role, and they're also going to take on the human resource role. And you really then want to just get, here's an example, one that I did earlier. So I'm hiring someone at the moment to help me, and I've got clarity on this person's going to be coming in and helping me with marketing and sales. And they're just about to start. So the role will evolve, but I got really clear on, well, what am I going to be hiring them for? Well, they're going to be doing my blogs, working my podcasts, webinars, online courses, helping me out with 2-day conferences, ongoing mentoring, and some of my masterminding. So a bit of an explanation about me, and then I got really clear on their roles and responsibilities. So when they start, they're very clear on what I'm paying them to do. And, I'm clear on their skill set. I don't want to put someone into this role that doesn't have the skills that I'm looking for. There's no point giving someone that's an introvert the role of maybe sales if they hate getting on the telephone and working in sales. It just doesn't make sense. So you've got to really align the role to the right skill set. And I also think it's important that you want to keep people in their genius, meaning avoid hiring or putting people in the slots when they just don't enjoy the work or it's not their genius, okay? But this process will help you create if you could appreciate job roles or job descriptions for every single person within your business, so then you've got a name to what needs to get done. Again, I'll include this in the templates, and you can download all of this and check it out. So you do want those clear job descriptions written out. Really, really important. Where possible, it's great to include some key performance indicators for certain roles. I'll show you an example. So a KPI, or key performance indicator, really is checklists. So you're not relying on even job descriptions. You're even going a step further, and you're really thinking about, I know the job is done when this is achieved. I'll give you an example. Just bear with me. So I'll blow this up. I'll come back to 150%. So I ran a business with 25 team members in Sydney, and we had our front desk receptionist. Now, I'm going to talk about systems shortly, but this changed everything when we KPI'd their job description. And you can see over here, we just thought about, what do we want this person to do on a daily basis? What do we want them to do on a weekly basis and a monthly basis? Now, in this particular example, it's an Excel template, which again I'll include, but we rewarded them on a monthly basis. We gave them an extra $250 if they achieved their KPIs. If we could put a yes next to everything. So did you post the letters at the end of the day? Now, it sounds simple, and there's a couple of comments in the room about treating people dumb, not letting people think for themselves. The whole idea with systems is to take the thinking away from them. That it's so much more efficient. I mean, if you've got systems for this stuff, so if you need letters posted once a week, then I would have that written down somewhere, and so then it's not forgotten and it doesn't cause a fight if that particular job's not done. So, but in this case, like if the kitchen and the lunchroom, wasn't clean, we'd say no, and then that would deduct $15 from their bonus amount. So you can see down the bottom, it would actually work out how much bonus they were paid and what percentage of their bonus. And we were quite upset if they weren't consistently doing 80% or more, right? If they're not doing their job that you're paying for, then they're not the right person, in my opinion. The important thing with setting this up, though, it needs someone to manage this person. So this person would report to the operations manager. The operations manager would have a 20-minute meeting weekly with this person and keep them on track to their KPIs, and a bit more of an extended meeting on a monthly basis. Would sit down with this person and really make sure that they're doing their job that they're paid for. Really powerful if you can KPIs, and we're going to go a lot more into this in the Platinum group, this whole section actually, but I'm giving you a good overview so you can get started. So this is really important. And where it falls down, understanding the place of systems. So systems stands for saving you stress, time, energy, and money. That's the acronym. And if you really understand systems, actually 96% of your problems within your business are system related, not human related. I have to say that again, but 96% of problems in your business are system related, not human related. And so many tasks can be a routine. So, so much stuff in running business just has to be done regularly. So in my business, I've got to pay bills regularly. I've got to send out invoices regularly. I've got to do website maintenance regularly. I've got to send out emails to my database regularly. I've got to, there's so many things. I could just list it, ongoing. So many of it's routine that I need to create the system that specifically says how to do it, and then the system to remind the team member to do it. Okay, that's really important. So they routinely, so for example, every Monday morning, my team will open up, what routine tasks do we need to achieve on this particular Monday? And then they'll tick it off, and then it's all accounted for. I use some pretty amazing software, not to confuse you with this, and we may look at introducing this in a Platinum group to you all, but some software called Asana, which just manages everyone and everything within the business. So there's no hiding from tasks. Asana.com, it is free software and it is very cool, like project management tasks, but I systemize so many things. I really want to put checklists in place. I really want to put big systems, and ultimately, if things aren't getting done in my business, the first thing I'll always look to is the system. System first, human second. Systemize the routine, humanize the exception. And just the CEO is really responsible. We spoke about this at the event, creating rhythm in your sheep owner's business. So rhythm, if you could remember, that's the Verne Harnish. That's the 1 to 2 days out where you plan your year out. A full day out where you have the quarterly catch-ups with your team. You have the weekly planning sessions. I mean, in my business, every single person has a 20-minute meeting, either with me or someone else, to really ensure that that person's focused for the week. They know what they're working on. They're on top of their routine tasks. And then the communication within the business just irons out challenges, and it creates a lot more flow and a lot more happiness for you and your team and everyone else. And look, this also helps you identify the 20% of activities that ultimately bring you most of your success, because you really don't want to get caught up doing stuff that's not going to move you towards your goals. And last but not least, you need trust. Now, this is such an important one, because you can't write out a really good job description and then have someone say that they're going to commit to it. You need to be checking in with them, but you do need to trust that they're going to do their job. You really need to let them go. You really need to release control and hand over and have faith that they're going to do the job. And if you keep interfering with them, you'll create so many disadvantages. There's a great little saying where a young boy was watching a butterfly come out of the cocoon, and he saw it was really struggling, so he decided to give it a hand, and he broke open the cocoon, and the butterfly came out, but it couldn't fly. And so the kid asked the vet, why can't this particular butterfly fly? And the vet said it needed the strength to come out of the cocoon on its own without help in order to fly. And this is really important. As you're growing a business, you really have to let your team members make the mistakes and then learn, and then bring them back to the system, but ultimately have peace of mind that they're going to do their job. I often see so many people are so busy concentrating on other people not doing their job that you forget to do your job correctly. You focus on what you do best and let your team focus on what they do best, and ultimately you'll have a well-oiled machine that works very, very well. And also, you really do need to start letting go. If we go back to that organizational chart, you really need to be letting go of paying bills, doing your best, doing the books. All that stuff is low-value work. It's not going to get you to your goals. Letting go of administration, handing over the keys to let someone else do your IT for you. And there'll be times when you need to hire to free you up to work on the business. So very, very important. And I hope you got some excellent value from this. Again, we're going to go a lot more into depth in the Platinum program on this topic, because as I'm sure you'd appreciate, it's really important. But your next steps, really take that big list of all the tasks and really exhaust your lists and build on them, and then form the job descriptions, and then get clarity on every single team member you've currently got, and start bridging, who's responsible for what. Get it written down on paper. It's not going to happen for you if it's not on paper. And if you need to hire. There's a saying, if you're too busy, you're just not leveraged. And when you're not leveraged, you may need a new team member. And that's completely okay. That's going to get you to the next level. And you may need to refine some systems, which ultimately will slow you down in order to speed you up.